Fire Emblem Awakening was one of the most impactful games for not just the franchise, but for all of Nintendo in the 2010s. It didn't just save the franchise from the brink of commercial death, but also saved the console it was on, as it was trying to shake off a sluggishly bad start. And now in 2022, the console has reached its end. March 2023 marks the end of the eShop, as well as all functionality for anything online related. What does this mean for Awakening? Well, getting physical copies is starting to get harder, but more importantly, the DLC will now soon be locked away forever. While I'm not all for everything there, some things in it are very much enjoyable, from the future past to the final map of Apotheosis. The latter is actually considered the ultimate goal in terms of raw challenge from this game, so if you want to play that, you have until that month to try and get it. Or maybe you want to play this game after hearing much about it from older fans, like say Three Houses or Fire Emblem Heroes was your first introduction to Fire Emblem and you want to start playing the older games. And if that happens to be you, boy, have I got the set of videos you'll need for your journey. This is going to be a general guide on Fire Emblem Awakening in 2022. This is the first of at least 5 videos. There may be more or less, so be wary. This first part is for beginners and people who want a simple refresher on some of the gameplay mechanics without getting spoiled on the story. So if you fear those being at risk, fear not. I will not delve into major story bits here. But there is one thing I will have to tease at for now, as it will be a talking point in a future video. After this, however, all of the videos will not care for spoilers and will assume you have an idea or are already aware of what is going on. Part 2 will talk about classes and skills, going over what every class has to offer to you and your units, and what skills are actually worth taking in the form of a priority list. Part 3 is about the support and marriage system, as well as the inheritance system for the second generation of units. This will segue into Part 4, which is about focusing on the best skills and classes to end on for each individual character. There is also a bonus part that will be released somewhere along the way that is all about the DLC specifically, which again will be gone by March of next year. So they're on a bit of a time limit. I will go over what each DLC offers and if they are worth buying or not. Some of these items for Lunatic, or Lunatic Plus especially, are almost required to stand a chance and beat the game in. So if you want to try, which Naga help you if you do, these will help you immensely. The goal of this guide is to help you acquire an understanding of this game's mechanics, making a streetpass team that you feel is best representative of you and your style, and conquering Apotheosis, the hardest map in all of Awakening. This game, however, is best experienced blind, but if you really want to optimize your first experience, or if this is another run at the game, I don't mind helping you out there. This is your last chance to get out of here and play the game for yourself spoiler free and carve out your own personal experience. So if you really don't mind that, or simply do not care, then feel free to stick around or come back later when you want to enjoy this game's depths even further. So I hope you got your game ready, because it's time to begin. And where better to begin than with your avatar? Name and birthday don't really matter that much, but your gender will. Off the bat, male and female units have access to exclusive classes the other cannot get. But if this is your first playthrough, who cares? Go with your preferred gender and next choose your asset and flaw. This choice will affect your Robin's bases and final max stat line. As an example, my Robin, in my hard classic run, has a magic asset and a luck flaw. That means he is very dangerous with the tome off the bat, but good luck triggering skills that require, well, luck. You can shape these however you wish to what you feel works for you, or maybe choose what you think reflects off your own personal quirks. Say you hit the books a lot in school, so you have a magic asset. But because you didn't exercise that much, you either aren't very fast, or you have weaker physical strength. It's a role-playing aspect, but if you enjoy that, then go for it. As you go through the prologue, an option of pairing up can be viewed. This is the game's signature mechanic, and you'll soon find on your own, it's pretty good at helping a player feel like they're destroying their opponents, but will still remind them that they can, and will be, at the mercy of the RNG gods. And this is why it's so genius. If 2 units stand next to each other, then they can have the pair up work still, but you won't be getting the raw stat bonuses apart from the following: hit, avoid, crit rate, and dodge. To get all these bonuses in a full pair up, you need to either be surrounded by allies, which is rare and should not be attempted frequently, but can be done instead with a support partner that you've paired up with and have maxed their rank out completely. What's a support, you say? Well, I'm glad you asked. Supports are ranks that show how close two units are. They grow through fighting together or performing certain actions like healing one another. This will also affect how likely they'll perform a follow-up attack after the front unit finishes their attack, and in some cases, the partner may even block an incoming attack from the enemy. If you build a high enough support between two units, and if they can, they could even get married. There's actually one marriage you cannot avoid, and that honor belongs to our main character Crom. For plot reasons, he has to get married after chapter 11, so if you have a specific pairing for him in mind, be very careful. Especially if you're female Robin and don't want to marry him yourself. It is pretty easy to make that happen after all. A little known fact is that he actually has a priority list of these women if they're all unranked and have no support points. I'll list them in that order from the top. Olivia, Sumia, Sully, Maribel, Female Robin, and Generica, a generic village maiden that the community named as such. Olivia, however, is a bit of an outlier, as you have to fight the game to not be put in a spot where Crom has 0 points with anyone at that moment. If you have any interest in these options if you're a male Robin, then go for them right away and S-support them before that moment, if possible. And if you want Crom as female Robin, just pair up with him like you would normally do. But if you don't want to, pair him up with literally anybody else. Whoever has the highest rank will win, and now you know the list for how Crom prioritizes his women. You will have many opportunities to grind on normal mode through reeking boxes to help spawn in more Risen to fight against, but if you do want an adequate challenge, try to refrain from that. On hard mode, this is not worth it anymore as they are jacked up in price, as they go from a modest 500 gold to a whopping 4,800. You also won't make a profit to offset that cost, so try to optimize your deployed units as best as you can. Speaking of units, there are some you can recruit over the story and in some side quests. The most iconic one is a newcomer's joy, Donald. This is the best farm boy you've ever seen since Luke Skywalker. Hell, when he gets good, he's practically fighting like him too. The only problem is circumstance. To recruit him, you'll need to finish the chapter with him alive, but also get at least 1 level up. He barely does any damage at first, so I'll give you some advice. Pair him up with Kellum, since they do have a support together, and Kellum's bulk will help the flimsy Donald survive and attack more easily. You can also use your own Robin if they have a defensive asset as well. And if you have money to burn, try forging a bronze lance to have a better hit rate, but more importantly, as much might as you can possibly get, and maybe even a bit of crit. That way he can KO some foes easier after they take some chip damage from other allies. He looks about as intimidating as a paper tiger at first, but his ability Aptitude will quickly have him snowballing into the biggest monster you have ever seen. He'll eventually pass even you as the best unit stat-wise, but do not depend on him too much on Hard and Lunatic. Lunatic especially is even harder to make him work, but we'll get to that down the road when the time comes. There are other paralogs I could discuss, but I think that's not only a good ending point for today, I still would like for you guys to experience some things on your own. So with that in mind, my closing thoughts are, be prepared to sink a lot of time in this game. I would not do it on a normal run if you're trying to get every skill in the game, as it isn't worth it on a casual run in my opinion. On normal, you will eventually steamroll everything regardless, and it will happen sooner rather than later. Hard and Lunatic, I believe, can be fine for this, but that will be further elaborated upon later. So thank you all for watching. Part 2 will be about classes and the skills that you will learn from them. I don't know when that will be ready, as I must still further reacquaint myself with the deeper parts of this game, but hopefully soon. I am streaming this on Twitch and will eventually stream my Lunatic run, so if you want to see me suffer there, feel free to drop it and say hello. I hope you enjoyed this and are looking forward to more meta aspects of this sandbox of a game. I'll see you all later. Stay safe out there.